Mr. Chairman. And my first question is to Governor Hogan, our neighbor to the north of West Virginia. We are, your western part of Maryland is, we often say it's just West Virginia again, or maybe you would say, maybe our part of our state is Western Maryland, but we're very much tied to one another. And I know that's where you have your Appalachian Development Highway System that Senator Cardin talked about. We've been working together. My question really is aimed at, because you have, you talked about the congestions in Baltimore, and you have massive transportation challenges in your more populated area, but then as you move to Western Maryland, you have the rural areas. What do you see in terms of being able to meet the transportation that we need to put in this bill to make sure that you, as the governor, have the ability to meet the transportation needs of both your rural and urban areas? And I do want to thank you for mentioning the one federal decision. We thought that was a very good part of the last bill that we passed, and we hope to incorporate it into this one. So, Governor Hogan, could you talk about the rural-urban flexibilities that you need?
Sure. Thank you very much, Senator. It is great to have you as a neighbor. I think you're absolutely right. I think the flexibility is something that I think we agree on, that the states need to have that ability to be flexible. But it's also really important that we balance, that we address issues in both our rural and our urban and suburban communities. And that's what I mentioned earlier. What we've tried to do in a very balanced plan by moving forward on every priority project in every one of our jurisdictions, from Western Maryland to the Eastern Shore. We've done some really big projects in the urban areas, but some really important projects in all of our rural areas as well. And I think it's critical that we come up with a certainty of a funding formula that gives us flexibility on surface transportation dollars, rather than some prescriptive regs regarding exactly how we have to use, I think, new discretionary grant programs that could be awarded through other entities. But we look forward to working with you. There's no question we have to find a balance. And going back to my comments earlier about getting a bipartisan bill, I think if we want to get everybody on board, we've got to address the transportation and infrastructure needs of all the states and all the communities across the country.
So let me just, as a point of clarification here, in terms of the formula funding that's built into all of these bills, that as we've moved along in 5 or 6 year increments, we have from time to time earmarked certain parts of that formula for certain specific types of projects, like transportation enhancement projects and others. Is basically what you're saying is, don't take away from the formula money where you have the greatest flexibility as the governor to create new discretionary programs that might take from your ability to be able to make those decisions at the state, local, and municipal level?
That's exactly right, Senator. We agree with that, and it's hard with the discretionary funding. It's hard to make long-term planning decisions. This transportation projects happen over a long number of years, and for us to really plan for all the improvements we want to make, to have some type of certainty is better. Having flexibility to do with what we want, but a reliability and a certainty of the funding formula is something that the governors would prefer.
Thank you. Thank you. Commissioner Sheehan, you mentioned in your statement about the failure to act. If we fail to act, what consequences, or if we do another short term? Could you expound on that a little bit, on our failure to get to a lengthy bill, a very robust, lengthy bill, as opposed to kicking the can down the road for another year? What impacts that has on you as a state commissioner and as all states?
So thank you for that question, Senator. As transportation professionals, we work closely with communities to understand what their transportation needs are. And then we set forth and develop either 5-year or 10-year transportation plans. We make some assumptions around what federal funding will be available. In the case of New Hampshire, for our 10-year plan, we assumed level federal funding into the future. That's so that we can prepare the projects and have them ready to access dollars when you make them available. So any interruption in the federal program means that we lose an entire construction season potentially if we're dealing with short-term extensions and having to really meter the projects that we advertise and move into construction. So it's very concerning for the state DOT. That directly impacts state and local government, as well as all of the contractors and vendors that we do business with. They're staffing up and preparing to bid on all of the work that they see us advancing through our advertising programs. And when we don't have the financial resources, it's devastating to those sectors of our economy as well.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.